Ghana risks losing its status as the world's second largest cocoa producer due to illegal mining contaminating cocoa farms. This is according to General Agricultural Workers Union (GAWU). GAWU's General Secretary Edward Kareweh criticized the government's inaction and highlighted the ongoing forced takeover of farms by miners. He further stressed that this issue threatens Ghana's long-term cocoa production and reputation. Well, joining me for more of this is Isaac Kofi Agyei, Analyst, SBM Intelligence Ghana. Thank you, Isaac, for joining me today.
Well, grateful for having me.
Okay, so I'd like you to talk to us about this water contamination, how it came about and how severe it is.
I mean, it all started, you know, that there are currently about 4 problems all affecting cocoa producing companies across West Africa. But Ghana, I continue to say we have a peculiar situation where illegal mining is almost substituting, cocoa farms. And that actually is contaminating water bodies across the length and breadth of the country, especially at the western side and some, central parts of the country where we're talking about the Ashanti region of the country, which produces a significant portion of the country's cocoa beans. So you have miners here in Ghana, we call them, galamseyers or illegal miners, taking over cocoa farms, destroying lands, and then also contaminating water bodies. So it's definitely coming from the illegal mining activities, which is currently going on in Ghana, and it's been so difficult fighting it.
Why is it difficult to fight it? Because I'm wondering if some persons are illegally carrying out a trade that is affecting the environment, affecting livelihood, affecting agriculture, and affecting cocoa production or cocoa farming, which is very important for Ghana's GDP, then it shouldn't be difficult dealing with them, except we want to say that they sort of have some form of support that's beyond the government.
Well, indeed. I mean, it's not as if Ghanaians are blind to the side effects of this illegal mining. We all know what is happening, where in the western side of the country, babies are actually born without kidneys.
Agyei, I mean, I'm interested in what you just said now. It feels you're talking about even the health implication of what's going on in Ghana. If you can hear me, I'd like you to take that again. You said babies are what?
Well, I was talking about, the western and central part of the country where babies are born with, they have some sort of deformity, and some have, 2 of their eyes, having problems with their kidney and all of that in the central and western parts of the country, all because some are being attributed to illegal mining going on in the country, where if you test the kidneys of babies, you're actually finding cyanide and some sort of, mercury in their systems. And that's actually problematic. But you're asking me why is Ghana not able to fight this problem? It's definitely because of the political ties, connected to this. We know that the mining areas, in fact, they hold a certain magnitude of votes. And politicians are aware that if you crack down on mining or illegal mining in Ghana, it has a certain adverse effect on whether or not you'll be able to retain power or not. For example, let me remind you of the 2016 election that brought the current government, President Akufo-Addo. We saw that 2016, the John Dramani Mahama administration went heavy on illegal mining. They cracked down on illegal mining. And when it came to the election in 2016, they were punished. And whilst he was, campaigning against illegal mining, his opponent, President Akufo-Addo in 2016 was telling them that, they should give him the opportunity. And when he comes, he's going to make it, a bit lucrative, going to sort of carry out a community mining and make it not look like what is currently happening, that they are destroying water bodies. But when he came, we all saw, he said he was going to put his presidency on the line by fighting illegal mining. He nearly lost his second term in 2020. So both politicians are currently now, they've learned their lessons. They know that if you touch the illegal miners, you've touched a significant portion of your vote. So there's some sort of political element in there. Beyond the vote and beyond elections, there are also reports that, there are top political, appointees and officials involved in these illegal mining activities that we are talking about, making it so difficult to even fight it. We've had a number of, interventions, joint task force, the military and the police all going on the ground to fight illegal mining. But for the past 6 or 7 years, we've not had that sort of significant impact that we want in terms of the fight. We've done the Operation Halt, we've done Operation Kareweh, we've done a number of them that, Operation Horse, for instance, is the current one that has not really worked in terms of helping to fight illegal mining. It's just because there are political elements in there, and there are also reports that top political appointees and officials are all involved in the illegal mining process in Ghana.
When we talk about this, I sort of remember Nigeria, and I ask myself, how many are they? Are they more than the people?
Definitely not, but they have
so
maybe the biggest portion
I would have thought that the people would, sort of take their lives into their own hands and fight for themselves. Because at the end of the day, if this is sort of attached to winning an election or not, that sort of even questions the integrity of the people who want to lead us. Because if you are afraid of fighting a thing because it's going to cost you another term, then who are you in the first place?
The people can stand and fight for themselves, but also these are the same people who are without jobs. They are a teeming youth in these areas that we are talking about without jobs. And so they see and find illegal mining as a source of income. So do you fight your own income? So they are caught between two things, and they are in a big dilemma whether to fight for their communities in terms of helping to protect the lands, or they themselves go into small-scale mining to find food on their table, to put food on the tables of their family members. So it's a really dicey situation for people who find themselves in mining communities. They are caught within a very big dilemma of deciding for themselves whether they will do illegal mining for them to have a source of income or protect their communities by taking a certain stand.
Well, some of the reports actually talk about, the most patriotic cocoa farmers are sort of forced to sell out their farms. And I really want clarification here. Does it mean that, what I want you to clarify is the use of the word force. Is this because of the contamination, or are they being threatened to surrender their farms?
Well, two things. You mentioned both right. It's a threat and the fact that there's contamination. So first, they will come to you legitimately and ask you to sell your farmland, which they feel that they can mine on it. And if you fail to do that and that persists, then they then go ahead to force it, sometimes even leaving contaminated water to flood your farmlands. And you have no option than to give the farmlands to them or sell it to them at a very cheap price. So they are forcing them, and then also they are, they come to you first, to sort of negotiate and say, we want to buy your farmland. And if you do not sell to them, they then go ahead to use the force method where they can flood your farmlands with muddy water filled with cyanide and mercury. And then also we have foreigners who are also involved in the illegal mining activities. For the past 2 or 3 years, we've seen the number of Chinese who have been arrested. The Aisha one situation is one example where she's still, I think, being tried. But it's not just the people of Ghana. The fact that
Agyei, I'm interested in what you're talking about.
They bring in a few and then decide to take advantage of the situation. So it's not just locals who are taking advantage of the situation. Foreigners are also seeing the loopholes and taking advantage of the situation in Ghana.
I want to ask, how widespread is this contamination? Maybe we want to put it in percentage. How widespread is it?
Roughly, if you are quantifying Ghana's cocoa farmlands, I can say that currently about 15% have been destroyed by illegal mining because of the magnitude of mining going on. Not just mining in the cocoa farms, but that cocoa also needs, water to survive. And formerly, farmers would depend on the streams and rivers that used to flow in the forest. But right now, all of these are being contaminated, and that makes it problematic. So it's not just the mining going on the cocoa farm, but the fact that the water bodies that, the farmlands would depend on for survival are also, getting contaminated. So if you ask me, I would say about 15% of Ghana's cocoa farmlands have been destroyed by galamsey activities.
I'm forced to ask if illegal mining contributes anything to the country's GDP because I'm just wondering. Yes, we know that there is that fear of losing elections, but then you talked about some form of some things that have been put in place, and yet those things have not been able to address the issue. It's becoming widespread. I mean, you just talked about how many percentage we're looking at here. What are your thoughts about sort of nipping this in the bud? What more needs to be done?
Well, definitely it has to start from the people. The people must get up, must arise. I mean, it's happening in the northern parts of the country where currently it's not just the southern parts of Ghana. In the northern parts of Ghana, where Ghana shares border with Burkina Faso, just this week we've had reports that illegal mining activities also going on there. And in this case, you have the people themselves, just going against this activity and saying that we do not want this in our area, we do not want this to continue. So it first starts with the people. And the politicians know that the people are not happy with it. They themselves cannot come to the people to engage in it. But also, I mean, it's about bread and butter issue here where everybody is looking for food on their table. So if you are really, really fighting illegal mining, what sort of alternative measures is government also putting in place so that the teeming youth who are finding this, mining communities can have alternatives rather than having the galamsey activity or illegal mining activities being the only source of income for majority of them. It's not just about people who go onto the lands to mine, but it's about even women and children who also depend on what the proceeds from some of these illegal mining activities. People go there as porters, not just to mine, but they go there as porters. People also go there with their wares to go and trade and all of that. So it's a whole economy. So if you are touching it, then it needs to be really touched in a certain way that the people who are involved are provided with alternatives, so that people do not find ways and means to go back even when government or the community is trying to fight it.
Well, finally, should Ghana lose its enviable position as the second largest cocoa producer? What are the implications for the country, the economy, and maybe the world generally?
The implications are dire, and currently we are even facing one of them. I mean, we've been studying the data, SBM Intelligence, in terms of Ghana's, first 2 months import value of cocoa. We've been looking at it from, 5 years ago. And just last year, the first 2 months of the year, Ghana was able to export $711.5 million of cocoa, January and February alone. If you look at this year, that number has been reduced by some $200 million. We are talking about just a little above $500 million compared to $711 million. And we all know what is going on in Ghana and Nigeria currently. There's forest crisis. In Ghana, is a bit dire. I mean, we've seen the cedi losing about 20% of its value since the beginning of the year. And we know how cocoa is the backbone of the Ghanaian economy. It's not just the economy that's going to suffer. It's about the fact that farmers and with their household, we average that about each farmer has a household size of about 5. All of these, lives are being threatened. Their livelihoods are being threatened. But beyond that, the bigger picture is that Ghana is losing its second position. We lost the first position to Ivory Coast. Now we are likely to lose the second position to either, Ecuador, possibly Cameroon or Nigeria. And this is not something that any Ghanaian will be proud of, because to have your yields reduced from over 1 million metric tons to now below 600,000 metric tons, that's a huge drop. And Ghanaians are really, really worried because we know that cocoa is the backbone of the economy. And over the years, it's been helping the stability of the cedi. Right. And we've seen that this year, that government is not really getting the loss from it. The cedi is also struggling.
It's a dire situation, I must say. But yeah, thank you for your thoughts. Isaac Kofi Agyei, Analyst, SBM Intelligence Ghana. Thank you once again for your time on the show today.